All right. It seems like it's been ages since I done this live editing stream, bro. Last week we did the contest. Before that I got sick, so we didn't stream, and then now we're doing it again. I'll be looking at everyone's what y'all been posting, and then we go from there. I'll try to edit as many. I'll do that. Let's try to edit this, try and fix this, and see what we could do. First things first, I love the color scheme. A lot of times what people do is they go too overboard with how many colors they use. Different types of colors, different shades and whatnot. But you do a good job at just the purple and the black and the white, which is nice. I think the main thing for you is the skin looks very flat, right? You need to do some more retouching, add some more detail to the skin. So first thing I'll do is I'll just go into camera raw and try to fix the skin. Just mess with all these sliders. Every time I go into camera raw, I don't know what I'm doing. I just mess with everything and just wait till it looks nice. That's all. That's the plan here. Add some more blue highlights to it, or a blue temperature, because the overall theme is purple. Most of your difference is going to be right here. Add more texture to it. You can make a lot of difference in here too. The retro type of moon you chose doesn't really go with this type of design, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to add eye glow to it because it doesn't work all the time. But let me see if we can fix the skin by desaturating it a little bit. Let's try this. Something like this maybe, and then obviously we gotta add some glow onto it. So what we'll do is duplicate it, bring down the hue and saturation, add a clipping mask, and then just add a Gaussian blur to it, bro. Easiest way to add glow. But one more thing I wanted to do was, can we add a black and white to the skin? So we're gonna go into one of the websites I mentioned in my best AI tools video. It's called Relight or Clipdrop, clipdrop.tc. So we can use this to add some extra lighting that may not originally be there in Photoshop. And then you can choose what color you want, right? So this is what I mean by using AI to like not using it destructively, but using it to make our workflow faster, easier. So we can add an edge light here, purple. We can mess with these settings to see how effective the lighting should be. Can you speak about what you offer in the inner circle? Been thinking about joining? It's I drop all the PSDs, man. Most of like the Ronda Rousey PSDs tonight, all the inner circle members get access to it. You can look at all the layers I use to get to the final design, and then I make a 30-minute to 40-minute breakdown video of explaining how to do everything. So I basically like walk you through how to make designs. But then besides that, you guys get like a inner circle chat where we talk about ask me anytime for feedback. There's about 60 members in there, and they always help each other out for feedback and stuff like that. Okay, see the difference between original and then adding a little bit of relighting using AI. And then if you really want to get creative with it, add some manual edge lighting to it. So we're gonna add a hue and saturation layer, make it kind of purple, invert the whole thing, and then I'm gonna switch to my brush tool. Again, I'm using a pen, so you can toggle this pressure option. Gives you a nice look most of the time. The people you really want to show this work to, people in the industry, they like to look at all the extra work you put in with all these details. So every time you're thinking about should I really spend 30 minutes trying to use the pen tool to cut this thing out? And then most people are not even going to care. People who do care, they're going to appreciate you, with a nice edge on that cutout, or they're going to appreciate you painting in the extra highlights when no one would have noticed. So the bottom layer that we just copied, I like to go to filter, blur, and then add some Gaussian blur onto it. Add a tiny bit of blur, maybe something like that. And then what we do is we go back onto the hue and saturation and make it a little bit darker, the bottom layer. It helps the whole thing blend better. Something like that. Okay, one thing I would add, I know people are not a big fan when I do this, as per comments on my reels, but I'm still gonna try and add like a tiny bit of like eye highlights. Let's see if that looks good or not. Okay, see, just like something subtle like that. If you just add a radial blur, right? Add a radial blur, which zooms. So kind of to show like there's like, you know, like light coming out from behind him. Something like that maybe. And then we just like mask it out. Have these little like streaks of it, like, you know, for example, where this like lens flare is, or that whatever it's called, you know, that thing. Yeah, I think this might be it, bro. This might be it. But I told you, like, the only thing that was missing here was most of the stuff was missing from the subject, right? Everything else looked good to me, so that's why I primarily focused on the subject. Let's just see. Maybe apply a tiny bit of lens blur just to see how it looks. For you, how do you know when to stop? Like, stop adding new items or elements and feeling satisfied with your product? See, what I do, Eternal, I start with a very specific plan. So I know when that plan is done, I can stop. What that means is, as I mentioned in my breakdown videos inside the inner circle, I always have a sketch or a drawing or some sort of like layout of how I want the elements to be placed, what I want to add to it. And then once I am done adding those, I know I'm done. So I think it all comes down to planning. A lot of people, what they do is they try to wing it. They try to like start project and then just like keep adding stuff until they think it's sufficient. But I think a better way to do it is just whatever idea you have in your head, try to visualize it by drawing it out or making a rough mock-up in Photoshop. All right, this is the best we could do. So let's just see the before versus the after. So this is the before and the after. Biggest thing I saw was in the skin, man, and just adding those small iterations, those small details in the skin, I think it goes a long way. You'll see like how much of a difference the edge lighting actually makes with the proper strokes and everything. I had a question about growing a page from scratch. I'm starting with like 20 followers and posting that type of quality. Okay, so here's the thing about growing a new page right now, right? This type of content where we just post the final poster and we post maybe a speed art of what we're making, it's very hard for that content to take off like today. Basically, just the only reason for that is because there's so many people doing it. There's so much content. There's so many designers, so much wrestling art, wrestling posters, any posters in general. There's so much of it that it's this type of content is hard to take off. If you're comfortable with like showing your face and stuff, bro, do the first thing is like just record yourself, talk about what you're doing. Just make I don't know if you see my reels, but like talk about like, here's how I would make this poster. It took me 10 hours to make this poster. You know, just have like a hook that people would want to watch. And that's the only way. If you're looking to grow on Instagram, unfortunately reels are the only way, bro. One thing you could do is you could post before and after, because you want people to slide. Tells Instagram that people are interested in this type of content. They want to see what Eternal is posting. Let's do this one. Okay, how do I fix this poster? You know what I would do? I'll show you. And then obviously cut out the logo. I'm gonna wait for my select subject to wake up so that we can start cutting this out. I want to make sure it gets all the 3D edges. So this right here, for example, and I'm gonna use my lasso tool to include all the inside stuff. That, this right here. What else? I think everything else is good. All right. Once we got this, we're gonna select this, right? Let's cut that out. All right, I'm gonna place this one behind them, kind of like that. We see what it does is that kind of helps fill up the background a little bit, right? But you see how it helped add that extra little bit in the background when you had nothing there before? Here you could add the stats. We're just trying to fill up the space, bro, that's all. Something like that. You know what I'll add? Let's try that. I feel like the green here, it seems like it's the only like green that we have. It doesn't really match with anything else in the design. Let's see if it'll let me make a perfect cutout of this or not. Probably not. I don't have high hopes for this, but let's see. Ooh, not bad. All right, let's try and see if we can fix this. See what I mean? To make it stand out more. And I'd want to do the same to the jersey of the other person, man, actually. And then you click on this slider here. I don't know what it's called, but you use the slider and you just select the color you wanna isolate. It's very easy. Okay, let's try and add a halftone. Pixelate, halftone. All right, I don't know about the halftone, guys. I'll be honest, I don't know about the halftone. We might just jump into camera raw. Let's see. You know what? Let me try CapCut. I'm just gonna try and add a filter onto it. Let's see. For those of you who are not in the inner circle, I showed you guys how to use CapCut for like lighting last time. It's one of the best things. You go into effects, you can add this cool effect called a dreamy halo, and it just adds the bloom for you. You don't have to see how it adds the glow and everything there. Add some filters. Another thing I like to add is it's called Heaven Shine. That adds this, like, you know, this type of thing. I don't know what it's called, but. And then finally I like to add a luminance wherever that is, just a subtle tiny amount. One thing I do wish though, and let's bring that back into Photoshop again. If you guys watch my videos in the inner circle, I tell you guys the best export settings, bring it back in 4K so that you don't lose any quality between CapCut and Photoshop. Okay, so we have something like this, and then we're gonna add the final camera raw. This is it. All right, let's see the before and after on this one. We started with this, and then we turn it into this. Basically, it's a combination of adding the lighting effects, adding the net, adding the logo, adding a little bit of text, changing some of the colors on the skin to make it stand out a little bit more. Because again, one thing that you get with a red background and then your skin is also kind of red, it all kind of like mushes together. Nothing stands out. But if you are able to like change the skin to a different color or no color at all, like in this case, it just looks a lot better. I guess I spend more time today on each design than doing a lot of designs, which is okay sometimes, you know. Do you have a way of finding client work or just kind of waiting for someone to hit you up? Appreciate you answering my questions. I got you, man. The easiest way to find client work is on Twitter. Literally, the amount of times that I've seen one of my posts do well, and then from there I would get like 5 to 10 people just reaching out for commissions. I never saw that on Instagram, right? On Instagram, I've had reels with like 6 million views, 7 million views. Nobody reaches out. So Instagram is best for like growing your following and getting that clout. But if you actually want client work, post it on Twitter. Post a lot on Twitter, and then tag a lot of these pages, man. Tag UFC, tag FIFA, tag NBA, and then you see what you get from there. Thank you everyone for watching. Those of you who are here the whole time, I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week.